Imagine walking past a dusty shoebox in your attic, never suspecting that inside lies a coin worth $999,000. Not gold, not silver, just a penny, a 2009 Lincoln penny. No mint mark, 1 cent. Now commanding nearly $1 million in the right collector's hands. Sound unbelievable? That's exactly what most people think, until it happens to them. You see, the truth is, life-changing wealth rarely announces itself with flashing lights. Sometimes, it jingles quietly at the bottom of a kitchen drawer. That's where a retired postman from Kansas found his treasure. A 2009 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, later verified to be one of the rarest modern cents ever struck. It was sitting among loose change he had saved for nearly a decade. What made this ordinary-looking coin so extraordinary? To understand that, we have to go back to a year most Americans remember for a very different reason, 2009. The economy was shaken, uncertainty ruled, and yet the U.S. Mint quietly rolled out a series of pennies that would become legends in their own right to honor the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent. The Mint introduced 4 unique reverse designs representing key stages of Lincoln's life: birthplace, formative years, professional life, presidency. A fitting tribute, but here's where it gets interesting. Not all of these coins were created equal. Some 2009 Lincoln cents were struck under rare conditions. Others were released in extremely limited numbers. But a select few, like the no mint mark Philadelphia strikes with striking die errors or double designs, would go on to become the holy grail of modern penny collecting. Now pause for a second. When was the last time you looked closely, really closely, at a penny before tossing it into a jar? Most people don't, and that's exactly why this opportunity still exists. Experts agree, most of the million-dollar coins still haven't been found. They're sitting in change jars, junk drawers, and old piggy banks, overlooked by people who have no idea that one small coin could fund their retirement, pay off their mortgage, or rewrite their family's financial legacy forever. Let that sink in. Collectors across the country are scouring flea markets, estate sales, and even vending machines looking for that one coin. The 2009 no mint mark Lincoln cent with specific flaws, pristine condition, and authentic details that make it worth a fortune. So what exactly should you be looking for? Start with the reverse. Is it the formative years design where a young Lincoln is shown sitting on a log? Reading? Now check the details. Look for any signs of doubling, especially in Lincoln's fingers, the book, or the logs. This could be a major error variant. One such coin fetched nearly 6 figures alone. And then, condition. This is critical. Coins graded MS68 or higher, especially with full red RD luster, are commanding the highest values. A recent auction saw one such specimen with no mint mark cross the $999,000 mark, and experts believe prices will only climb as fewer pristine versions remain in circulation. But don't be fooled. Counterfeits are flooding online marketplaces. It's not just about spotting a rare coin, it's about verifying it. That's where professional coin grading services like PCGS or NGC come in. If you think you've found something valuable, do not clean it. Do not handle it excessively. And absolutely do not try to sell it before it's properly authenticated. Because here's the twist. Even a genuine coin, if damaged or cleaned, can lose 90% of its value instantly. Now let's talk fear, because here's where it gets real. Every day, thousands of valuable coins are unknowingly spent. Used to pay for coffee, dropped into donation jars, thrown into Coinstar machines, gone. Just like that. Can you imagine finding out that a coin you once held in your hand sold for nearly $1 million, weeks after you gave it away for a pack of gum? It happens, more often than you think. But you don't have to be one of those people. Not anymore, because now you know the truth. Your next question should be, how do I check what I have? It starts with awareness. Dig out your change jars. Look through your old wallets, sock drawers, inherited coin boxes. Sort every 2009 penny you find. Separate those without a mint mark. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. That's your first filter. Then begin to look closer. Any strange texture? Misalignments? Off-centering? Doubling? If you find one that looks unusual, you may have just hit the jackpot. But wait, We're not done yet. Because here's the real kicker. Experts believe there may be an undiscovered variety of the 2009 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny that has never surfaced publicly. A transitional error or unique die clash, waiting in someone's forgotten coin jar. And when it does surface, it could break every known price record in modern numismatics. Could you be the one to find it? It's not just a fantasy. It's a possibility. A real, tangible, goosebump-inducing possibility. Because in the world of coins, the smallest pieces often carry the biggest fortunes. And unlike the lottery, this treasure doesn't rely on chance. It relies on knowledge, patience, and a willingness to look where others won't. So ask yourself, what if one small coin could change everything? You've held it. You've walked past it. Maybe you've already spent it. But maybe, just maybe, it's still waiting for you. Check your pennies. Check them tonight. Because while others sleep on fortune, you're wide awake, and the $1 million coin. It's out there. And it's not going to wait forever. What if I told you? There's a single penny sitting quietly in someone's kitchen drawer right now. A 2007 Lincoln penny with a tiny D under the date. That could be worth nearly $1 million. Yes, 1 cent. One coin. $997,000. Before you scoff or roll your eyes, ask yourself this. How many times have you walked past fortune and never realized it? Maybe you already have. Because this isn't just another internet story. This is a chilling truth of lost treasures hiding in plain sight. And tonight, we dig them up. Let me show you why this ordinary-looking 2007 D Lincoln penny has collectors, dealers, and serious investors scrambling like it's gold. Because, in more ways than one, it is .in 2007, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins. At first glance, they're everywhere. Copper-plated zinc, Abraham Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. A classic.
Familiar.
Harmless. But here's what most people miss. Not every 2007 D penny was created equal. Some of these coins, just a few, were struck with rare minting errors so valuable that professional coin graders are placing their value at nearly 7 figures. Now, what kind of error turns 1 cent into a fortune? Let's start with the double die reverse, a phenomenon so subtle the untrained eye would miss it. But collectors? They'd kill for it. If the lettering on the reverse, particularly the E pluribus unum, or 1 cent, appears ghosted, shadowed, or doubled, you're not holding a mistake. You're holding a masterpiece. Then there's the off-center strike. Imagine Lincoln's head being pushed too far to one side, almost like he's slipping off the coin. What looks like damage might just be destiny. But the real unicorn, the 2007 D transitional error, a penny mistakenly struck using a die intended for a different year, or even a different metal composition. These coins are breathtakingly rare, and when they hit auction houses like Heritage or Stack's Bowers, they don't sell. They ignite. In one stunning case. A 2007 D penny with a dramatic die clash and pristine MS-69 grade was appraised at $997,000. You heard that right. A penny, the kind most people would ignore on a gas station floor, became an inheritance-level asset. So now the question is, have you checked your pennies lately? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. These high-value coins aren't sitting in museums. They're not locked behind bulletproof glass. They're in junk drawers, coffee cans, old wallets, your glove box. They're in circulation. Right now, you might be holding one. Or worse, you might have spent one. But how do you know if yours is worth anything? Start with a simple loop, a coin magnifier. Examine the details. Look at the date. Is the D crisp and properly aligned? Any doubling in the text? Does Lincoln's jacket look off-center, or like it's been echoed? Check the reverse. Are the columns of the Lincoln Memorial clean or fuzzy? Is the United States of America curved or distorted? Subtle errors mean everything. And condition? It matters. A heavily worn penny will fetch less than a clean, uncirculated one. That's why collectors obsess over mint state grades, especially MS-67 and above. That's where the money lies. Now, let's talk strategy. What if you find one? Don't list it on eBay right away. Don't take it to your local pawn shop. You need a professional appraisal, someone with numismatic credentials. Look for NGC or PCGS certified graders. And above all, do not clean the coin. Ever. That single mistake could knock off thousands, even hundreds of thousands, from its value. Still think a penny can't change your life? Tell that to the retired schoolteacher in Missouri who found one of these rare 2007 D pennies in a bag of laundry coins and sold it for nearly $1 million. One coin. One discovery. A retirement that went from modest to majestic. Or the single mom in Nevada who cashed in a cup of change and unknowingly handed over a $300,000 rarity. The worst part? She never knew until a dealer called her back. 3 months later. Do you want to be the person who discovers treasure? Or the person who accidentally gives it away? Here's the reality. In this economy, every cent counts, literally. And the people who understand that, they're no longer just coin collectors. They're wealth builders. But here's where it gets even more exciting or terrifying, depending on your perspective. The value of these rare coins? It's not staying static. As demand rises and more coins get pulled out of circulation, scarcity increases. Which means, so does the price. What's worth $997,000 today could be a $1.5 million coin tomorrow. And once that happens, you'll wish you had looked a little closer before you toss that change jar, before you skip past another copper glimmer on the sidewalk. Remember this, every penny has a story. Some are written in gold. Stay tuned, because in our next video, we're uncovering another overlooked coin that just hit the auction block for $1.2 million. And no one saw it coming. Don't blink. Breathe. You might already have it. Do you have one of these in your house right now? A 2006 Lincoln penny with a little D mint mark under the date? If you do, you might want to sit down, because this tiny copper coin, this humble 1-cent piece, could be worth up to $996,000. And no, that's not a typo. It's a strange thing, isn't it? How something so small, so ordinary, could secretly hold the power to completely rewrite your financial story. But in the world of rare coins, the ordinary is often extraordinary in disguise. Let me take you on a journey, not just into the story of a coin, but into the hidden corners of American wealth, where patience, curiosity, and just a bit of luck can be worth more than gold. Back in 2006, the United States Mint in Denver struck millions, literally millions, of Lincoln pennies. Most were flawless, clean, crisp, and ultimately forgettable. They passed from hand to hand, used in candy stores, gas stations, maybe dropped in vending machines, or forgotten in the backseat of a car. But a microscopic handful were different. They carried an error, a barely noticeable, easy-to-miss minting flaw or anomaly, so subtle most people never saw it. These are called error coins, and to collectors they are gold mines. One such coin, verified, certified, and auctioned, recently sold for just under $996,000. And here's the thing. There are more out there. Somewhere. In sock drawers, in dusty jars on the shelf, buried in pockets of jeans you haven't worn in years. Some of them have never even been touched since they were minted. Let that sink in. You could be sitting on a fortune and never know it. So, what makes the 2006 D Lincoln penny so valuable? It's not just the date. It's not just the D for Denver. It's what went wrong in the minting process. In this rare case, some of the coins were struck off-center. Others had what experts call double dyes, where the image appears slightly doubled due to a misalignment in the minting process. And some, well, those are still being discovered and documented. These imperfections, often considered worthless mistakes by the untrained eye, are actually prized treasures for numismatists, serious coin collectors who hunt for these anomalies with the same intensity as stock traders chasing market peaks. But the real question is, do you have one of these? Now, I know what you might be thinking. How can a penny, just a penny, be worth more than my house? The truth is, rare coins aren't priced by what they cost to make. They're priced by rarity, condition, and demand. It's a supply and demand game played in a secret world of private collectors and high-stakes auctions, often hidden in plain sight. Here's a little secret. Many millionaires in the coin world didn't start out as experts. They started out like you, regular folks cleaning out an attic or opening a box of inherited change from their parents or grandparents. And this is where fear and opportunity collide. Fear that you could give away something worth 6 figures without even realizing it. That someone, somewhere, could hand your treasure to a cashier and get Exactly 1 cent, but the opportunity? That's the exciting part. You don't need a degree in numismatics to win this game. You just need to know what to look for and where.so grab your 2006 pennies. Look under the date. See that little D? That's step 1. Now look closer. Use a magnifying glass if you have one. Is the image slightly off-center? Do the letters look doubled or distorted? Is the rim uneven or the surface unusually glossy? These tiny clues can be the difference between a regular coin and a once-in-a-lifetime windfall. Still unsure? Here's the golden tip. Certified coin grading services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate your coin for a modest fee. If it passes their scrutiny, your penny enters a whole new world. Suddenly, you're not just holding a coin. You're holding leverage, power, wealth, and what happens next is where your story could take a wild turn. Just last year, a man in Nebraska found a rare penny in his grandfather's coin jar. He almost threw it into a Coinstar machine. Something stopped him, a gut feeling. He had it graded. 2 months later, he sold it for $468,000. And yes, he paid off his mortgage the next day. Imagine what that kind of money could do in your life. Imagine opening your mailbox and finding a check for a coin you've had lying around for 19 years. Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? But here's the kicker. These coins don't announce themselves. They don't glow. They don't whisper in your ear. They sit quietly, waiting for someone curious enough, smart enough, brave enough to ask the right question. So, I'll ask it for you. What if you're holding a fortune and you just haven't looked close enough yet? Because if one penny can be worth almost $1 million, what else might you be missing? Before we wrap up, here's your call to action. Check your drawers. Open that old coffee can. Look inside the glove compartment. Examine every 2006 penny you find. Take photos. Compare them online. And if something looks even a little strange, hold on to it. Could be your ticket to a completely different future. The time to act is now. Because as more of these rare 2006 D-era coins are discovered, their value will eventually plateau. The clock is ticking. The market is watching. And collectors are always hungry for the next great find. So don't wait until your penny is someone else's million. Look now. Look closely. And who knows? You might just become the next person we talk about. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching for a forgotten jar of old pennies buried in the back of your closet, and realizing that one of them, just one, could be worth close to $1 million. Not a dream, not a fantasy. This is real. Because somewhere out there, hiding in plain sight, is the 2005 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. And it's quietly making everyday people rich beyond their wildest imagination. Now you might be wondering, how on earth can a simple penny be worth almost $1 million? Fair question. But before we answer that, let me ask you this. When was the last time you really looked at your change? I mean, really looked. Most people don't. They spend it, toss it in a drawer, or dump it into a coin machine without a second thought. And that's exactly why the 2005 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny continues to slip through the cracks, unnoticed by millions, but priceless to the few who know what to look for. This isn't just about coin collecting. This is about hidden wealth. It's about a secret that's been sitting in your palm this whole time, waiting. And it all begins in 2005, a year that marked a turning point for the Lincoln 1-cent coin. Now, 2005 was supposed to be an ordinary minting year, but something unusual happened at the Philadelphia Mint. A small batch of pennies left the presses with no mint mark. Now, to the untrained eye, this seems like nothing, just a tiny omission. But to the world of numismatics, that one detail transforms this penny into something legendary. Why? Because U.S. coins are always marked with a letter indicating where they were made. A D for Denver, a P for Philadelphia, an S for San Francisco. The 2005 Lincoln pennies from Philadelphia should have had a P. But due to a rare mechanical error or perhaps human oversight, some slipped through the cracks. Untouched, unmarked, unrepeatable. And that's where the value lies. Scarcity, condition, demand. 3 pillars of value that all align in these mysterious no-mint mark coins. Only a handful have been certified in pristine, uncirculated condition. And when rarity meets near perfection in the eyes of collectors, something magical happens. Let's talk numbers. One of these coins, graded MS69 red by PCGS, sold recently for a jaw-dropping $995,000. Yes, you heard that right. $995,000 for a coin that, at face value, is worth just 1 cent. Feeling that chill up your spine yet? Because here's where it gets really interesting. Experts believe there are still a few of these pennies out there, hidden in dresser drawers, cookie tins, maybe even that giant water jug you've been dumping change into since 1998. The hunt is still on, and the window to cash in is narrowing. You see, as more of these rare coins are discovered and sold, fewer remain unaccounted for, which means prices will only climb. That's the urgency. That's the edge. And that's the reason you might want to start checking your change tonight. How can I tell if I have one? Good question, and here's your cheat sheet. First, look for the date 2005. Next, flip it over. Does it have a mint mark below the date? If it has a D or an S, it's not the one. But if there's no letter at all, just a clean, empty space, that's your green light. But don't celebrate just yet. The value depends heavily on condition. Coins must be uncirculated or in mint state to fetch the highest prices. A scratched or worn coin won't hit 6 figures, but it could still be worth hundreds, or even thousands. If you think you've got something special, don't run to the nearest pawn shop. Get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. Only certified coins command top dollar in auctions. And believe me, collectors are watching. You might laugh, but people have accidentally spent rare coins like this buying coffee. Imagine handing over $1 million penny for a $3 latte. That's not just a bad trade. It's a tragedy. So if you're sitting on a coin jar, take a deep breath and start digging. Right now, someone just like you is discovering a treasure they never knew they had. And here's a fun twist. Some of these 2005 pennies have bizarre die breaks, doubling effects, or misalignments, traits that increase their value dramatically. Errors that would normally be dismissed as flaws are, in this world, jackpots in disguise. It's not just a hobby. It's a movement. Americans across the country are waking up to the fact that the change in their pockets could be their ticket to a whole new lifestyle. No gimmicks, no lottery, just knowledge, patience, and a sharp eye. Still with me? Good, because I've saved the biggest revelation for last. There are whispers in the coin community, rumors, really, about a single flawless 2005 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that has never been seen in the marketplace. Experts suspect it exists somewhere out there, maybe sitting in a cigar box, maybe passed down unknowingly in a family collection. If found, it's expected to break records, possibly crossing the $1 million mark. And the person who finds it? They won't just be rich. They'll be immortalized in coin history forever. So here's the challenge. Will it be you? Will you be the one who finds the final ghost penny? Or will you leave it buried, forgotten in a drawer, only to hear one day that someone else found it? Someone who watched a video just like this and acted. You've been given the knowledge. The rest is up to you. Go. Check your coins. Sometimes, the smallest things in life hold the biggest secrets. What if I told you that one forgotten penny, sitting quietly in your junk drawer or clinging to the bottom of your change jar, could be worth up to $995,000? Not a joke. Not a myth. A real US coin that has turned everyday people into unexpected millionaires overnight. And the best part? This penny was made in 1995. A year not so distant, not so ancient, and not so rare. Until you look closely. Now let's dive into a secret most collectors won't tell you. The 1995 Lincoln penny, yes, the one without any mint mark, could be hiding something. Something microscopic, but monumental. A detail that transforms it from pocket change into generational wealth. Most people will never notice it. Most people will spend it. But a few will recognize the treasure they hold. In 1995, the U.S. Mint experienced a rare mishap. A die error during production at the Philadelphia Mint led to a double die obverse on a limited batch of Lincoln pennies. To the naked eye, these coins look ordinary. Lincoln's calm profile, liberty to the left, In God we trust above, but under a magnifying glass, the truth reveals itself. The key is in the doubling, most visibly on the word liberty and the date. Strong, clean, and unmistakably doubled. And that's what collectors go wild for. But let me pause for a second. You might be wondering, why would anyone pay almost $1 million for a tiny lettering error? Well, here's the truth most miss. It's not just a coin. It's a piece of American history, a minting anomaly, and a collector's dream. When rarity meets condition, especially in a high grade like MS67 or higher, the value doesn't just rise. It explodes. And here's where things get even more exciting. You don't need to be a numismatic expert to find one. These pennies were mass distributed. They ended up in lunch money, tip jars, soda machines. That means millions of Americans had or still have a 1995 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny tucked away, completely unaware of its potential. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your old coin stash? You know the one. That tin box in the closet. The envelope of coins your grandmother passed down. The change from your first car's glove box. You might be sitting on a fortune and never know it. Until it's too late. That's what happened to a man in Illinois. True story, he was sorting coins with his grandson. A 1995 penny caught his eye. He almost tossed it, but something felt off. He took a closer look. Sure enough, clear doubling on the Liberty. That coin later sold at auction for nearly $50,000, and that wasn't even the highest grade. Now imagine one that's pristine, uncirculated, mirror-like. Those are the coins that can fetch up to $995,000 in the open market. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Right now. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Out of the millions of 1995 pennies still circulating, only a tiny fraction show the double die obverse. And an even smaller number have been preserved in near-perfect condition. That's why time is not on your side. The longer you wait, the fewer exist, and the more expensive they become. Collectors are scouring the country, attending estate sales, bidding at online auctions, sweeping coin shops, because they know, once these high-grade specimens are all in private collections, they won't be coming back. And here's the kicker. Most people who own these valuable coins have no idea. They think, oh, it's just a 1995 penny, worth a cent, so they spend it, or worse, they give it away. Let me make this real for you. Imagine waking up tomorrow, logging into your account, and seeing $995,000 deposited. All because you checked OneCoin.no complex investments. No crypto speculation. No risky bets. Just knowledge. Just timing. Just looking at something you already have. Sounds like a dream, right? But dreams only work if you act on them. So how do you know if your 1995 penny is the one? Check for the absence of a mint mark. That means it was minted in Philadelphia. Grab a magnifying glass, or even your phone camera. Look closely at Liberty. In God we trust. And the date. If you see clear, doubled letters, you may have a genuine double die. Condition matters. If the coin looks flawless, minimal scratches, rich original color, it could be a high-grade specimen. And that's when things get very interesting. Of course, don't go selling it to just anyone. Some buyers will lowball you, hoping you don't know what it's worth. That's why it's critical to get it graded by a professional agency like PCGS or NGC. A certified coin is trusted, recognized, and valued properly. Now, if you've stuck with me this far, you're probably already wondering if that old coin jar might be your ticket out. Maybe it is. Maybe it's more than just a coin. Maybe it's a lifeline. Paying off the mortgage, funding your retirement, starting that dream business, giving your kids what you never had. But you'll never know until you check. Still think a penny isn't worth bending down for? Before we wrap up, let me leave you with this thought. The difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth $1 million is a second glance. And sometimes, a second glance changes everything. Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of your garage sale, a dusty coffee can full of old pennies in your hand. For years, you've thought of them as junk, spare change, nothing more. But what if just one of those pennies could be worth nearly $1 million? Because hidden among those old coins, there just might be a 1992 Lincoln penny with a tiny D mark and a secret that could change your financial future forever. Yes, you heard that right. A penny. 1 cent currently being hunted by collectors, appraisers, and even full-time treasure hunters. And one rare version of it, known only to a few experts and lucky collectors, has been confirmed to sell for up to $992,000. No exaggeration.
No hype.
Just cold, hard, copper-plated reality. So the real question is, do you have one? Let's find out. See, in 1992, the US Mint did something unexpected. During a transitional design phase, a small number of Lincoln pennies were accidentally struck with what's called the close AM reverse design, normally meant for proof coins only. What does close AM mean? It's subtle. On most 1992 pennies, the A and M in the word America are spaced apart. But on the rare close AM variety, they're nearly touching, so close, in fact, it looks like they're hugging. Now, combine that design with a Denver Mint mark, that little D just below the year, and you have one of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cents ever made. Only a handful are known to exist. Still think those pennies in your drawer are worthless? Of course, finding one isn't just about dumb luck. It's about awareness, knowledge, precision, the kind of thing most people ignore but wealthy people obsess over. Think about it. How many times have you tossed a coin aside without even looking? How many small fortunes have slipped through your fingers, unnoticed? In 2012, a sharp-eyed collector spotted a 1992 D close AM penny and had it authenticated. The coin sold at auction $4.20, $700. That sounds impressive, until another surfaced in pristine condition. A true mint state gem, fetched nearly $1 million. Yes, from 1 penny. The reason? Condition is king. In the world of rare coins, a high-grade piece, graded MS-67 or higher, can turn a rare coin into a legend. And here's where the excitement and the urgency really begins. Because unlike gold bars or fine art, these coins are still out there. They're hiding in basements, in coin jars, in your grandmother's kitchen drawer. Every day, people unknowingly trade away life-changing coins at face value. Every day, $1 million penny could be sliding across a convenience store counter. It's almost criminal. But it's also your opportunity, so what should you do? First, grab every 1992 penny you can find. Focus on those with the small D mint mark. That means they were struck in Denver. Now, flip it over. Look closely at the word America. If the A and the M are almost touching, so close you could barely slide a hair between them, you might just be holding a 6-figure coin. Sounds simple. And it is. But here's where many people mess up. Condition matters. Scratches, dirt, wear, they all affect value. If your coin looks sharp, shiny, and free of major blemishes, that's your cue to get it professionally graded. The top grading services, like PCGS or NGC, can confirm the authenticity and assign a numerical grade. That grade, it could be the difference between a $1,000 find and a $992,000 payday. And here's something else most people don't know. If your coin is the first ever discovered in that grade, it can spark a bidding war. Collectors love Pop 1 coins, Population 1, the only one of its kind. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Why haven't I heard of this before? Simple. The people who know about this kind of thing, dealers, collectors, silent millionaires, they don't exactly advertise it. Why would they? The fewer people who know, the better their chances of striking gold before you do. But today, you're on the inside, you now know the truth. And you can't unsee it. So here's the real decision you're facing. You can walk away from this video, go back to your regular day, and let this knowledge fade like another forgotten YouTube clip. Or you can go to your drawer, your jar, your attic, and check those pennies. Right now. Because while others are sitting on their hands, watching their opportunities slip away, you could be holding the very coin that will redefine your life. 1 penny. 1 mistake by the US Mint. 1 moment of curiosity from you. And everything changes. Still think pennies are just pocket change? Think again. But don't go just yet, because in our next video, we're diving into an even rarer Lincoln penny. One that could make this 1992 D look like spare change by comparison. And trust me, you do not want to miss it. What if I told you that one ordinary-looking penny, specifically a 1991 Lincoln cent with a small D mint mark, could secretly be worth up to $991,000. You heard that right. 1 cent, just shy of $1 million. And it might already be sitting in your home, tucked away in a forgotten jar or old coin folder. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, sure, another wild coin story, stay with me, because what you're about to discover is more than just a lucky find. It's a quiet, hidden world of rare coins that turn everyday Americans into overnight millionaires. And this isn't about luck. This is about knowledge, timing, and recognizing value where others don't. The 1991 D. Lincoln penny is one of those once-in-a-lifetime coins, and today, we're going to unlock the reason why. Let's start with the basics. The 1991 Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, hence the D under the year, and over 4.6 billion were produced. So you might ask, how can something so common be worth anything at all? And that's the first trap most people fall into. Rarity doesn't always mean low mintage. Sometimes it's about what went wrong, or what went strangely right. Among those billions of pennies, a tiny number came out with critical errors and anomalies, like off-center strikes, double dies, wrong planchets, or deeply lustrous full red finishes that never saw circulation. And that's where things get serious. One verified specimen with a near-perfect red finish, struck flawlessly, recently fetched $991,000 at private auction. That's not a typo. 1 penny, nearly $1 million. Why? Because elite collectors, high-stakes investors, and wealthy enthusiasts are always chasing perfection. They want the rarest of the rare. They want history frozen in copper and zinc. And most importantly, they're willing to pay anything for it. Think about this. You could be holding one of these gems without even knowing it. That old coin jar in your garage? The drawer in your late father's desk? It might be housing a 7-figure treasure, quietly waiting to be noticed. Now let's talk details, because not every 1991 D penny is worth a fortune. You need to know what makes the valuable ones stand out. First, the condition. We're talking mint state MS67 or higher. That means a flawless surface, no scratches, full original luster. The coin should look like it just left the mint yesterday. Second, the color. Collectors prize what's called full red coins. Over time, copper darkens, but a full red coin maintains that rich, vibrant coppery sheen. It's rare to find one still glowing after 30 years. Third, errors. Look for doubling in the words, "In God we trust" or "Liberty." Even a slight doubling can explode the coin's value. Misalignments, off-center strikes, or coins struck on the wrong metal planchet are even more desirable. A little nervous you might have tossed 1 year ago. You're not alone. Most people have. That's the fear that keeps collectors up at night. The thought that wealth passed through their fingers without a second glance. But it's also the reason why the hunt is so addictive. Because it could still be out there. And it could be yours. You might wonder, how does one go from pocket change to nearly $1 million? The answer lies in authentication. If you think you've found a candidate, don't clean it. Don't handle it more than necessary. Contact a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These are the gatekeepers of legitimacy in the coin world, and their certification can mean the difference between $1 and $1,000,000. Let's pause here and reflect for a moment. This isn't just about pennies. It's about possibilities, about wealth hiding in plain sight, about second chances. The wealthy don't work harder, they spot opportunities sooner. This is your opportunity. Still not convinced? Here's a story for you. In 2018, a retired electrician in Arizona was organizing his old belongings. He opened a dusty drawer filled with tools, receipts, and loose change. One of the coins caught his eye, shinier than the others, oddly pristine. He almost tossed it, but curiosity won. He had it graded, MS68, full red, 1991, D, private sale, $881,000. Just like that, his retirement changed forever. Now, here's the cliffhanger. Rumors are swirling in the coin community that an even more valuable variant of the 1991 D is circulating, one with a double strike and a partial off-metal composition. Only one known example, supposedly still unverified. And collectors are on high alert. Could it be in your change cup? Could it be sitting in your safe, unnoticed? Could you be the next story? The clock is ticking. Every day, more pennies are being lost, damaged, or destroyed. The window to find these rare coins is shrinking. But for those who act now, who check, who research, who believe greatness is still within reach. So the next time you see a penny, don't just walk by. Pick it up. Look closer. Because sometimes the smallest things hold the biggest secrets. And if you're lucky, your next penny might just buy your dream life. Subscribe for more rare coin secrets. And whatever you do, don't check your coin jar until after you finish watching the next video. You reach into your pocket, pull out a handful of change, and there it is, a simple brownish-red penny, worn, unassuming, and forgotten. You almost toss it into the nearest tip jar. But what if I told you that little copper coin could be worth nearly $1 million? Sounds unbelievable, right? And yet, right now, somewhere in the United States, someone is holding a 1989 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, completely unaware they're sitting on a hidden fortune. One of the most overlooked coins in American history has quietly become one of the most sought after, and if you know what to look for, it could change your financial future forever. Because this isn't just about a penny. This is about legacy, timing, and the once-in-a-lifetime kind of luck that rewards those who pay attention when others don't. Now let's talk about the 1989 Lincoln 1-cent coin. At first glance, it's one of the most ordinary coins ever minted. Over 7 billion were struck that year. But every now and then, an extraordinary error escapes the mint's strict quality control, and those few errors turn into the holy grail for collectors. One such coin? The elusive 1989 Lincoln penny with no mint mark and a critical die flaw that makes it dramatically rarer than the rest. And that's why a single specimen, authentic, well-preserved, and verified, was recently appraised at a jaw-dropping $989,000. Yes. That's nearly $1 million. For a single penny. Before you roll your eyes and think, this must be a scam, let me ask you, how many people ignored Bitcoin at $100? Or Apple stock in the 1990s? Wealth doesn't always announce itself with flashing lights and red carpets. Sometimes, it jingles softly in your coat pocket, waiting for you to wake up. So what makes this particular 1989 penny so special? First, it's the missing mint mark. Normally, Philadelphia minted coins from that year bear no mint mark, but some of the 1989 no mint mark pennies are actually misidentified Denver strikes. Coins that were supposed to have a D mint mark but were mistakenly struck without one. This rare anomaly makes them extremely desirable in the collector's market. Now pair that with a second factor, die doubling. Some of these pennies also exhibit strong signs of doubling on the obverse, particularly around the word liberty and the date. This kind of doubling isn't just a curiosity, it's a certification magnet. Collectors go wild for it, especially when it's paired with a pristine grade. But the final and perhaps most chilling reason: condition. There are thousands, maybe millions of 1989 pennies floating around, but only a fraction are in near-perfect, uncirculated condition. Those coins? They're like lottery tickets, only you don't have to buy one. You might already own it. Let that sink in. This is not just about numismatics. This is about timing, about recognizing the value in what others overlook. Because the difference between a 1-cent coin and a $989,000 windfall is knowledge and a little bit of luck. And here's where it gets exciting. Across estate sales, junk drawers, garage cleanouts, and forgotten piggy banks, these ultra-rare 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies are still out there. They're hiding in plain sight, just waiting to be discovered. And the market is heating up. Collectors are offering record prices for verified specimens. Coin grading agencies are flooded with requests. And online auctions? Some have seen bidding wars erupt over a single penny. So how do you know if your penny is the one? First, examine the coin under bright light. Is there a mint mark? If yes, it's not the jackpot version. If no, keep going. Next, look at the details. Are there signs of doubling? Check Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. If the lettering looks almost shadowed or like it's been traced twice, that's a red flag worth celebrating. Then comes condition. If your coin is scratched, worn down, or corroded, it'll still have value, but not that kind of value. But if it looks crisp, untouched, with sharp edges and full detail, you may be holding something astonishing. Now here's the kicker. Professional grading is essential. If you think you've got the right coin, don't toss it in a bag with the others. Place it in a protective sleeve. Do not clean it, cleaning ruins coins. Then, reach out to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. Their authentication can be the difference between $1 and $9.89. 000. Still skeptical? That's fair. It's hard to believe something so small could be worth so much. But do a quick search. Read the headlines. Check the auction sites. Real people are cashing in right now because they took a second look at something the world told them had no value. It makes you wonder, how many rare coins have already slipped through our fingers? There's a strange kind of beauty in this. The idea that treasure might already be in your home. Not buried in the backyard or locked in a vault, but sitting quietly in your nightstand, waiting for you to notice. That's the truth about wealth. It's often closer than we think, and it favors the curious. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or open that drawer full of old change, don't look away. Don't assume. Don't shrug. That 1989 penny might be nothing, or it might be the coin that rewrites your entire story. But here's the question that should keep you up tonight. What if the coin that makes you a millionaire is already in your house? Keep watching, because in the next few minutes, I'll show you how to protect, evaluate, and sell your coin without getting scammed, and how one viewer turned their forgotten penny into a life-changing windfall. And trust me, you don't want to miss what happened next. What if I told you a single penny in your old junk drawer could be worth $982,000? No, this isn't a scam. No, this isn't a trick. This is a real coin. A 1982 Lincoln penny. D-mint mark. 1 cent, worth nearly $1 million. Before you laugh or shrug it off, listen closely. Because someone just like you once threw this coin into a jar, never knowing they were tossing away a life-changing fortune. And the scariest part? That someone might be you. You see, not all pennies are created equal, especially not the 1982 D. Lincoln penny. That year was a turning point in American coinage. A quiet revolution was underway. The U.S. Mint made a dramatic switch from copper to zinc. But in the rush, a few anomalies slipped through the cracks. Anomalies that are now worth 6, even 7 figures. The 1982 D penny was supposed to be minted in zinc-coated steel with a copper finish. But some coins, very few, were accidentally struck using the older, heavier copper planchets. We're talking about a coin that weighs 3.1 grams instead of 2.5. Doesn't sound like a big deal? To collectors and investors, it's the difference between pocket change and a payday large enough to buy your dream home. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you really looked at your spare change? We've all heard the phrase, time is money. But in this case, it's more like money is time, as in retirement time, vacation time, freedom time. And here's where it gets fascinating. One of these rare 1982 D copper pennies was discovered by a young man in Colorado. Just an ordinary guy, like you, like me. One day, while going through coins in his late grandfather's collection, he noticed something strange. The coin felt different. He weighed it. It was heavier, sent it off for grading. And when it came back, it was real. The first confirmed 1982 D small date copper penny. Authenticated by experts. Certified by PCGS. And valued, hold your breath, at nearly $1 million. That's not a typo. A 1-cent coin turned into $982,000 overnight. Now imagine how he felt. Shock? Disbelief? Joy? A bit of guilt, maybe, because who knew something so small could be worth so much? But that's just one story. What if I told you there are more out there? Still hiding, still waiting, still tucked away in forgotten drawers, dusty jars, Ziploc bags, or childhood coin collections abandoned in attics. And maybe, just maybe, in your house. Here's what you need to look for. First, the mint mark. It must have a small D below the date. That means it was struck in Denver.
No. Day?
No deal. Next, the date itself. There were large and small date varieties in 1982. You're looking for the small date. It's subtle. The number 2 in 1982 should have a soft curve and sit higher. Think of it like spotting the difference between twins, almost identical, but one tiny feature changes everything. Third, the weight. This is critical. Copper pennies weigh 3.1 grams. Zinc ones weigh 2.5 grams. You'll need a digital scale accurate to 0.1 grams. The scale is your truth teller, your gatekeeper, and maybe your ticket to early retirement. If your 1982 D penny is small date, with the D mint mark, and weighs 3.1 grams, congratulations. You may be holding one of the most valuable Lincoln cents in American history. But here's where it gets even more thrilling, and yes, even more urgent. There's speculation in the numismatic world that fewer than 5 of these coins exist. The US Mint never intended to make them. They're what's called off-metal errors, accidents, and rare errors like this. They don't just climb in value, they skyrocket. Collectors are hunting them. Investors are watching. Auctions are buzzing. This isn't just coin collecting anymore. It's a treasure hunt. And every day you wait, someone else might find the gold in your ground. Think this is just for hobbyists? Wrong. Hedge funds, private collectors, even museums are now in the coin game. Because hard assets like rare coins don't just sit there. They grow. They protect wealth. And unlike digital stocks, you can hold them, feel them, pass them down. Now, let's get real for a second. Maybe you've looked through your coins before. Maybe you think you've seen everything. But have you weighed them? Have you checked the date variety with a jeweler's loupe? Have you examined every 1982 penny with the same urgency as you would a winning lottery ticket? Because that's what this is. And before you think, what are the odds? Consider this: the person who found the first $1 million penny wasn't a collector. He wasn't a dealer. He was just curious. He paid attention. He took action. You still can. So here's what you do. Tonight, go to your kitchen drawer, that jar in the garage, the shoebox in the closet, wherever your forgotten change lives. Pull out your 1982 pennies. Separate the ones with a D. Look at the date. Weigh them. Every single one. And if you find it, if you spot the small date D mint mark 3.1 grams, do not clean it. Do not handle it with your bare fingers. Place it in a soft holder. Contact a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. Get it authenticated. And then get ready for a life that could change forever. Because that humble penny could become your $1 million moment. Or you could ignore this, throw your change back in the jar, and live the rest of your life wondering what if. But that's the thing about treasure. It only reveals itself to those who seek it. So, are you ready to seek yours? Because the next 1982 D copper penny, worth $982,000, might just be in your hands. And here's the real twist. You might have already held it. What if I told you there's a tiny piece of copper sitting in your drawer right now, worth more than a luxury home in Miami? You'd laugh, right? But before you do, before you toss that handful of old change back into the jar, ask yourself one thing. What if you're holding the wrong penny? Because one ordinary-looking coin, a 1979 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, is now causing whispers and wild bidding wars behind closed doors, and one recently sold for a jaw-dropping $979,000. Let that sink in. Not gold. Not silver. Just 1 cent, transformed into nearly $1 million. This isn't a fairy tale. It's a true story playing out right now, in quiet estates, dusty attics, and the old shoeboxes of everyday Americans. And if you're between the ages of 30 and 65, the odds are higher than you think that you may have the winning coin. But how? Why is this specific penny so valuable? And more importantly, how do you know if you have the one? It all begins in the late 1970s, a time when America was recovering from inflation and the US Mint was modernizing. The Lincoln penny, first struck in 1909, had already become an American icon. But in 1979, something quietly changed at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins minted in Philadelphia during that era weren't given a mint mark. No P, no D, just a clean surface beneath Lincoln's date. And while this wasn't unusual, something else was. A minuscule error, nearly invisible to the naked eye. But that single flaw would one day create a collector's frenzy. One batch of 1979 Lincoln pennies came out with an ultra-sharp, proof-like strike. Experts believe these coins were struck using highly polished dies meant for proof coins. Dies that were never intended for general circulation. So what happens when a coin that was never supposed to exist ends up in the wild? Exactly. Chaos.it took years before anyone noticed. These coins blended in. They didn't shine with gold. They weren't encrusted with diamonds. They looked like a regular penny. But collectors began spotting something different. A stunning clarity. Razor-sharp details on Lincoln's beard. Deeper fields. Frosted features. And no mint mark. Just the haunting silence of a phantom minting. And that's when the race began. The coin community lit up. A few rare examples surfaced, graded MS-68 and above, mint state perfection. One was auctioned at nearly $1 million, shocking even the most seasoned numismatists. Now pause, let's be real, you've probably tossed 1,000 pennies in your life without a second thought. What if one of them was this one? Before you panic and tear apart your coin jar, let's talk about what you need to look for: no visible mint mark under the date, ultra-sharp features. Especially around Lincoln's jacket and beard, a clean, proof-like surface, with little to no contact marks, and, if you're lucky, an MS-68 or higher grading from a reputable third-party service like PCGS or NGC. But here's the twist. Most people don't see the value even when it's in their hand. They mistake it for spare change. They spend it on coffee. They give it to their kids for gumball machines. Why? Because they don't know what treasure looks like anymore. And maybe that's the real tragedy, not that these coins are rare, but that they're invisible to the untrained eye. So what should you do if you suspect you found one? Stop everything. Handle the coin carefully, never with bare hands. Use cotton gloves or the edges only. Place it in a coin flip or protective sleeve immediately. Get a magnifier. You're looking for precision. If the coin shows the frosted design and mirrored background with zero mint mark, you're in business. Contact a professional grader. Yes, it'll cost a small fee. But if the coin is what you think it is, that small investment could multiply 100,000 times. Imagine the call you'd make after it comes back from grading. Hey, turns out my old penny's worth $979,000. Not bad for something that's been under your car seat since 1998. And here's what's even more mind-boggling. This market is still heating up. As we speak, private collectors are hunting for this coin. Bidding wars are quietly erupting in exclusive forums. And the highest grades? They're approaching 7 figures. What does that tell you? It tells you this isn't a fad. It's a window. A window that's closing slowly, but surely. So here's the million-dollar question. What's the real cost of ignoring this? Because the coin market doesn't wait. That penny you spent at the gas station last week could be the one that breaks records next year. And you'll never know. Unless you look. Don't be the person who finds out after the value hits headlines. Be the one who acts now. Dig into that jar. Check your change drawer. Call up your parents and ask if they still have that old coin folder from 1982. Because here's the truth. Wealth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, and sometimes it weighs exactly 3.11 grams, and it's copper, and it's dated 1979, and it has no mint mark. And sometimes, just sometimes, it changes everything. Stay curious. Stay vigilant. And don't spend that next penny until you're absolutely sure it's not worth $1 million. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand, dull, worn, almost forgettable. You toss it in a drawer, or maybe it disappears beneath your car seat. But what if that one penny could be worth $969,000? Yes, you heard right. 1 cent worth nearly $1 million. This isn't a fantasy. It's not a gimmick. It's a real coin, a real story. And in the next few minutes, you're going to discover how an ordinary-looking 1969 Lincoln penny, a coin millions overlooked, has become one of the most sought-after treasures in American numismatics. Because for a few sharp-eyed, lucky individuals, this penny changed everything. In 1969, the world was watching the moon landing. Woodstock echoed across fields. And quietly, in the shadows of the Denver Mint, something extraordinary was happening. Something no one noticed. A small batch of Lincoln pennies began circulating. To most, they looked just like the others. Copper tone. Lincoln's side profile. The familiar wheat ears replaced by the Lincoln Memorial. But buried within a few of those coins was an error so rare, so accidental, that decades later, collectors would pay 6 figures just to own it. Now, before we go further, pause for a second and look around. Think about your life, your bills, your dreams. That vacation you keep postponing. The house you wish you could buy. Or maybe just the feeling of knowing you're secure, no longer scraping for every dollar. What if all that was sitting in your kitchen drawer right now? The 1969 D penny most people toss aside can be a golden ticket. And here's why. First, rarity. The 1969 D isn't valuable simply because it's old. It's valuable because it carries secrets. A misstrike, a doubling in the lettering, a minting flaw that only a handful possess. The term is double die obverse. It sounds technical because it is. This means that the date and sometimes the word liberty or in God we trust appears to be stamped twice, ever so slightly off. It's as if the coin maker blinked and history shifted. But here's where it gets crazier. While Philadelphia minted some well-known double die pennies in 1969, the Denver mint mark, D, combined with doubling, is exceptionally rare. Most experts didn't even believe such a coin existed until it surfaced. And when it did, auctions exploded. Collectors went wild. Bidding wars broke out like it was Wall Street in Copperform .1 verified specimen in circulated condition. Yes, circulated, meaning it had been used, passed through hands, probably bought someone a stick of gum, sold for $969,000. Imagine that, a coin you could find in your change jar becoming your retirement plan. But wait, what does this mean for you? It means every 1969 penny with a D mint mark that passes through your hands could be your shot. Your break. The moment everything changes. If it shows signs of doubling, especially on the date or lettering, you might be looking at generational wealth. But blink and you'll miss it. Now let's talk risk. Because there's always risk. For every genuine treasure, there are fakes, counterfeits, sellers hoping to trick collectors with manipulated coins. That's why authentication is everything. If you believe you've got something, you need to go through a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. These aren't just letters. They're the guardians at the gate. They'll examine your coin under microscopes, verify every detail, and certify its value. And once it's certified, that's when the magic begins. We're talking auction houses, bidding wars, private collectors reaching out with cash offers that make your head spin. Because for them, owning a coin like the 1969 D double die isn't just about collecting, it's about legacy. It's about power. It's about holding a fragment of American minting history in the palm of their hand. Still think pennies are just pocket change? Here's another twist. The 1969 D double die penny is so rare, even seasoned collectors don't know how many truly exist. Some believe there may be fewer than 20 in total. Others think more might be hiding, unnoticed, in old jars, estate sales, flea markets, or yes, your basement. That's what keeps the value rising. The unknown. The chase. And here's the real kicker. People are waking up to this. Every month, more folks are combing through their change, searching through old penny rolls from banks, posting finds on forums, competing against each other, which means the longer you wait, the smaller your chances. Time is not your friend here. How many 1969 D pennies have passed through your hands in the last 30 years? How many did you dismiss? How many might still be somewhere in your life, waiting to be found? And this isn't just about one coin. This is about a shift, a mindset. It's about starting to look differently at the world around you. That dusty box of coins your grandfather left, the bag of change in your glove compartment, these aren't scraps. They're potential gold mines. Now imagine the look on your spouse's face when you tell them that penny you almost threw away just bought your dream home. Or that trip to Europe you've been putting off for 20 years. Paid for by a coin. It's not a fantasy. But it does take one thing. Action. So here's your move. After this video ends, go check. Grab every penny from 1969 you can find. Look for the D mint mark beneath the date. Then, under a strong light or magnifier, look for doubling. If you're unsure, compare it to photos from certified sources. Ask a local coin dealer. And if it even looks close, send it for grading. Because while most people are chasing get-rich-quick schemes, you might be sitting on $1 million secret, hidden in plain sight. Still think coins are boring? 1 cent. That's all it takes. 1 cent to shift your story. 1 cent to turn a moment of curiosity into a lifetime of freedom. So go ahead. Check your change. Check your drawers. Because someone out there is going to find the next one. Why not you? And in our next video, we'll reveal the 1972 Lincoln penny that's turning even more heads and selling for over $1.2 million. But fair warning, that one might already be in your pocket. Did you ever imagine that a single penny, yes, just 1 cent, could change your entire financial future? Somewhere, tucked away in a forgotten jar, in the folds of an old wallet, or even wedged between your couch cushions, could be one of the most valuable coins in America today, a 1971 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. At first glance, it's just another copper coin. But appearances, as you're about to discover, can be deceiving. This 1 cent piece, struck over 5 decades ago, is now worth up to $971,000, and in rare cases even more. Sound impossible? That's what most people think. Until they realize they've been sitting on a fortune. Let's take a deep breath here. Because what we're about to uncover could change everything you thought you knew about money, value, and opportunity. In 1971, millions of Lincoln cents were minted. Most bear the D for Denver or S for San Francisco, but a small, astonishingly rare batch struck in Philadelphia was released without any mint mark at all. And this seemingly minor omission is precisely what gives this coin its power. Now, here's where things get truly unbelievable. Point 1 particular 1971 no mint mark penny was recently evaluated with a value just shy of $1 million. Why? Because of a perfect storm of factors. Pristine condition, rare die errors, uncirculated status, and historical significance. When all these elements align, well, let's just say collectors will pay the kind of money most people dream of winning in the lottery. But don't assume every 1971 penny will make you a millionaire. That's the trap. The real gold, figuratively speaking, lies in understanding what makes your coin stand out. Is the strike off-center? Is the lettering doubled? Is the surface unusually sharp, flawless, or a little off? Because those imperfections? They're often worth more than perfection. A common penny might buy you a gumball, if you can still find one for that price. But a rare 1971 no mint mark error penny? That could buy you a lakefront home, a luxury SUV, and a ticket out of the 9 to 5 grind. And it's not just about money. Owning a rare coin is like holding history in your hands, untouched by time, overlooked by millions, and now, possibly, your key to generational wealth. The thrill of discovery, the spark of possibility, the chase for hidden treasure. This is what turns ordinary people into passionate collectors, and passionate collectors into millionaires. But here's the part no one talks about. Every day that coin sits unnoticed in someone's drawer is a day closer to someone else finding it first. Because now, the word is out. Dealers, collectors, and even TikTok treasure hunters are scouring flea markets, estate sales, and even eBay listings, hoping to snag one before the rest of the world wakes up. The competition is real, and the window of opportunity, narrowing by the second. Still think pennies aren't worth your time? Let's talk condition. The most valuable 1971 no mint mark pennies are classified as MS 67 or higher. That's mint state, meaning the coin has never been in circulation.
No scratches. No fingerprints.
Just a near-flawless snapshot of 1971. Combine that with unique characteristics like double die obverse errors, and you're looking at a jackpot. But here's where it gets interesting and a little dangerous. Some fakes are circulating. Scammers have realized the value of this coin and are creating replicas to fool buyers and sellers alike. That's why authentication is everything. If you think you have a potential jackpot, never sell it to the first bidder. Get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC, two of the most respected coin grading services in the world. Their certification could be the difference between walking away with $20 or $200,000. Now, maybe you're wondering, what if I missed my chance? Here's the truth. The coin world is just waking up to the full value of these hidden gems. We are in the early phase of a numismatic renaissance. Prices are climbing. Demand is rising. And people just like you, people who once rolled their eyes at penny collecting, are suddenly walking into wealth. Still think it can't happen to you? Here's something to chew on. A 1971 no mint mark penny with a sharp strike, perfect luster, and visible doubling recently sold at a private auction for more than a 4-bedroom house in Austin, Texas. 1 cent, flipping into a dream life. Now tell me, How many of those are sitting unnoticed in pocket change bowls across the country? We'll dive deeper into how to inspect your 1971 penny in just a moment. But first, ask yourself, are you really going to leave potential fortune up to chance? Or are you ready to take control, flip over that old coin jar, and finally see what you've been missing? Because here's the thing. Coins don't just hold monetary value. They hold stories. Your grandfather's collection, that old piggy bank from childhood, the penny taped to a handwritten note from years ago. We discard them as spare change, never knowing some might carry 6 figures of untapped potential. And here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. There's one specific feature on a 1971 no-mint mark penny, an extremely rare error that pushes its value beyond $971,000. It's subtle, barely visible to the naked eye. Most people would miss it even if it were staring them in the face. Want to know what that error is? We're revealing it in our next video. A step-by-step visual breakdown of the exact indicators that separate an ordinary penny from a million-dollar miracle. But before you go, do this. Grab that old coffee can, that dusty shoebox, or the coin jar under your sink. Because today might be the day you find your fortune. And when you do, you'll remember this moment. Don't just watch the treasure hunt. Be part of it. Imagine this. You're rummaging through an old box in the attic, dusty, forgotten, filled with memories. Suddenly, a single worn penny slips through your fingers. It's dated 1967. Looks ordinary. No mint mark. You think, just 1 cent. But what if I told you that tiny coin could be worth $967,000? No, this isn't fantasy. It's happening. Right now. Across America, everyday people are uncovering forgotten pennies that are changing their lives overnight. And the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is the hidden gem no one sees coming. Quiet, understated, but explosive in value if you know what to look for. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes you'll discover the truth behind this 1-cent miracle, why it's skyrocketing in value, what secret errors and variations push its worth into 6 or even 7 figures, and most importantly, how you might already own one without even realizing it. But first, let's take a step back. The year is 1967. The US is in transition, war abroad, revolution at home. Amidst this chaos, the US Mint makes a bold decision: eliminate mint marks from all coins.
No Denver.
No San Francisco. Nothing. The goal? To discourage coin hoarding. But ironically, that decision created a generation of coins shrouded in mystery, especially the Lincoln penny. You see, when mint marks disappeared, so did the clarity on where coins were struck. And with that confusion came inconsistency.
Die Errors.
Double strikes, off-center prints, variations in metal composition due to experimental planchets. All of it tucked into circulation, unnoticed, until now. And here's where it gets wild. A few of these 1967 pennies, seemingly ordinary, were struck with extremely rare errors like full brockage, reverse die caps, and dramatic off-center strikes. One such penny recently sold at auction for $967,000. Imagine that. A coin once used to buy a stick of gum, now able to buy you a beachfront home. You're probably thinking, okay, but how do I know if I have one of these? That's the million-dollar question. And the answer could change your life. Start with the basics. Look at the date. 1967. No mint mark? Perfect. But now hold it under a light. Tilt it. Do the letters in Liberty look doubled? Does Lincoln's eye appear shadowed or distorted? That could be a double die obverse, a known error that collectors pay massive premiums for. Next, examine the edges. Is the coin perfectly round or slightly off-center? A misalignment of even 10% can launch the value of a penny from face value to thousands of dollars. Some collectors will pay top dollar simply because the strike looks wrong. Imagine that. Imperfection becoming your ticket to wealth. But wait, it gets better. There are also transitional errors. Coins accidentally struck on planchets meant for other denominations or years. In 1967, the Mint experimented with different metal compositions. If your penny has an unusual weight, say it's heavier or lighter than the typical 3.11 grams, you might be holding one of these freak anomalies. Some were struck on dime blanks. others on leftover silver planchets. And those? They're priceless. Now, before you run to crack open your piggy bank or start raiding your grandparents' coin jar, let me drop a hard truth. Not every 1967 penny is valuable. In fact, billions were made. But what makes certain coins worth hundreds of thousands or even millions is scarcity, error, and condition. And here's the kicker. Most people have no idea what they're looking at. That's why collectors and investors are scrambling right now, sweeping up undervalued 1967 pennies from estate sales, garage sales, even eBay. They're not waiting, because they know the window is closing fast. As more people discover these rare errors, the market tightens. Prices soar. Opportunities vanish. So here's what you do next. Go through your change. Pull out every 1967 penny you can find. Then grab a magnifying glass or use your phone camera on macro mode. Check for doubling. Check for off-centers. Weigh the coin. Precision scales cost less than a fast food meal. And if anything looks unusual, even slightly, have it graded by a professional. Coins that are authenticated and graded by companies like PCGS or NGC can skyrocket in value overnight. You might be thinking, well, I'm not a coin expert. Good. You don't need to be. All you need is curiosity, a keen eye, and the courage to look twice at what everyone else ignores. Remember, most millionaires didn't get rich by working harder. They got rich by spotting what others overlooked. And sometimes, what they overlooked was a single penny. Funny, isn't it? We live in a world obsessed with digital currency, crypto, and AI, but a small copper coin from 1967 might just outperform them all. Who would have thought? But wait, there's one more twist to this story. Some experts believe there's a super error 1967 penny still out there. Never cataloged, never found. It's rumored to have been struck on a silver dime planchet with a full brockage and double die. If that coin surfaces, its value could easily cross the $2 million mark. Think that's far-fetched? In 2010, a 1943 bronze Lincoln penny sold for $1.7 million. Lightning can strike twice. So ask yourself, what if it strikes in your sock drawer? The world won't tell you to look. The banks won't whisper it. But the coin does, quietly, patiently, waiting for someone with eyes to see and the will to act. Don't miss this. Your future wealth might be hiding in the smallest corner of your home, masked in copper, stamped 1967, and waiting to be discovered. And who knows? The next $1 million story we tell could be yours. Imagine waking up one ordinary morning, reaching into an old coffee tin, and pulling out a dusty penny, just 1 cent. It's worn, darkened by time. You almost toss it aside. But what if I told you that tiny coin could be worth more than your house? Not $10, not 100, not even 1,000. Try $964,000. Yes, for a penny. Sounds crazy, right? But the 1964 Lincoln penny isn't just a piece of copper. In rare cases, it's a key to a life most people only dream about. You see, hidden across America are pockets, jars, and forgotten drawers holding what could be small fortunes. And one of the most shocking treasures? A 1964 penny with a tiny little D under the date. A coin that was mass-produced, over 3.7 billion struck. But a select few, just a few, hold secrets that could change your financial life forever. Now, you might be thinking, how can a coin that literally says 1 cent be worth nearly $1 million? That's the question smart collectors and smarter sellers have been asking for decades. And the answer? It lies in a potent mix of rarity, minting anomalies, and yes, pure luck. But let's rewind. Why 1964? Why Denver? It was a turbulent time in American history. The U.S. Mint was cranking out coins at lightning speed to meet demand. Mistakes were inevitable.
Double dies.
Off-center strikes. Rare alloys accidentally used during chaotic production runs. These weren't just errors. They were golden tickets. And some of those flawed coins made it out into circulation. Quietly, without warning. The 1964 Lincoln penny, particularly the rarest varieties, is known to be among the most valuable error coins in the numismatic world today. And here's the jaw-dropping part. You could own one without even realizing it. In one recorded auction, A single 1964 D penny with an extremely rare die clash and doubling sold for over $900,000. The buyer?
rarity.
The seller? A retiree who found it in a family coin box. He thought it might be worth a couple $100. Imagine that call from the auction house. And while not every 1964 D penny is worth a fortune, certain varieties absolutely are. You just have to know what to look for. First, examine the date and mint mark. Are the numbers sharp or doubled slightly? Does the D look off-center, faint, or misaligned? Under magnification, do the letters in Liberty or In God We Trust appear to have shadows or ghost outlines? Those signs might mean you're holding a highly coveted double die. And here's where the game really changes metal composition. You see, most 1964 D pennies were made from 95% copper. But due to experimental runs and leftover planchets from prior years, a tiny number were struck on bronze or even transitional metal blanks, making them freak rarities worth hundreds of thousands. Yes, even pennies have secrets. Now, let's take a pause. Look around your home. Do you have an old piggy bank? A forgotten shoebox? Maybe a jar your grandfather kept on a dusty shelf? You wouldn't be the first person to stumble upon a coin worth more than a Ferrari while cleaning out a garage. And here's where the urgency kicks in. The coin market is shifting
Fast.
as more collectors flood into the space and old estates get liquidated. These rare pennies are vanishing into private collections. Every day you wait could be the day your fortune slips through someone else's fingers. Auction houses are seeing a surge in demand. Private collectors are making blind offers on rare Lincoln cents. And online marketplaces? A feeding frenzy. Some 1964 D varieties have quietly sold for 5 and 6 figures without a whisper of media coverage, so the question becomes, what are you sitting on right now? Let's say you do find one of these rare pennies. What next? Don't clean it. Ever. Even a swipe with a paper towel can cut its value in half. Condition is everything. Second, get a second opinion. Contact a reputable coin grader, like PCGS or NGC. Certification is the key to unlocking top dollar. And finally, consider your selling options. You might be shocked at what private buyers are willing to offer when the right coin shows up. And if you're wondering, isn't it too late? Let me tell you a quick story. Just last year, a middle-aged woman in Ohio brought in a box of coins to a local appraisal event. She almost skipped the pennies entirely. But one 1964 D Lincoln cent caught the expert's eye. It had a rare misalignment, doubled letters, and, most importantly, an unusual metallic luster. That penny sold at private auction for $764,000. She used the money to pay off her house, her daughter's college tuition, and take her first vacation in 20 years. All from one coin. So, what if that's you? It's not just about luck. It's about awareness, timing, knowing that sometimes the universe leaves little clues in the most unexpected places, like a copper coin stamped 6 decades ago. And here's the final twist. There are still unconfirmed reports of an ultra-rare 1964 D penny variety, struck from a transitional proof die, that experts believe could fetch over $1.5 million if discovered in the wild. No one has publicly confirmed its existence yet, but all signs point to it being real, still out there, possibly in a forgotten roll of coins somewhere in an attic. Maybe yours. So the next time your fingers brush against an old coin jar, don't just move on. Lean in. Look closely. You could be holding history, mystery, and a life-changing fortune. What's the true value of a penny? Well, that depends. Are you ready to find out? They say most people walk right past their fortune every single day and never even know it. Maybe it's hiding in the back of your junk drawer. Maybe it's that little copper coin resting at the bottom of an old mason jar your grandfather kept in the garage. Maybe, just maybe, it's that unassuming penny you tossed onto the counter last week without a second thought. Because one of those pennies, one struck in Denver in the year 1952, could be worth up to $952,000. Let that sink in. A single cent. Almost $1 million. Now, here's the part they don't tell you. This isn't just a story about a rare coin. It's a story about time, about legacy, about how ordinary objects hold extraordinary value. If you know where to look. In 1952, America was post-war proud. Eisenhower had just been elected. Gas was 20 cents a gallon. A loaf of bread? 16 cents. And while the nation was rebuilding, so too was the U.S. Mint. Over 746 million Lincoln pennies were struck that year, and of those, over 400 million bore the D Mint mark, crafted in Denver. At a glance, nothing special. But history, as always, hides her riches well. Because among those 1952 D Lincoln cents lies a tiny handful of coins that were mistruck, double die stamped, struck on the wrong metal planchet, or preserved in such flawless condition that they became, quite literally, priceless. Coins like these have broken auction records, turning collectors into millionaires overnight. Imagine finding one in your own home. Now you may be asking, okay, but how do I know if my 1952 D penny is one of the valuable ones? Good question. Let's walk through it carefully, because this is where dreams are either made or missed. First, condition is everything. If your penny looks brand new, sharp edges, clear date, no visible wear, you might be holding a mint state specimen. Coins in MS-67 red condition, the highest level of preservation, are the ones commanding values well into the six-figure range. And yes, the red part matters. A penny that has retained its original coppery red luster is far more valuable than those dulled to brown or spotted with age. Second, errors. This is where things get interesting. Some 1952 D pennies were struck with die errors, a misalignment here, a doubling of the date there, or a completely different metal composition altogether. One known variety was struck on a planchet intended for a dime. Lighter, smaller, but unmistakably valuable. One such error coin, near flawless condition, rare metal composition, and verified by PCGS, sold for a jaw-dropping $952,000 at auction. The kicker? It was found in a family's inherited coin collection. Sat untouched for over 40 years. What else is collecting dust in your attic right now? And yet, here's the real tragedy. For every person who discovers a rare coin, there are thousands who throw them away, give them to kids, or worse, spend them on a pack of gum. Let that be your cautionary tale that if you're holding a 1952 D penny, don't blink. Don't shrug. Don't say, oh, it's just a penny, because it might not be. It might be the key to the lifestyle you've always dreamed of. The freedom, the security, the ability to take care of your family for generations. Now you're probably wondering, where do I even begin? Start with a magnifying glass. Examine the coin's surface. Is the date clean and bold? Is there doubling in the numbers? Check Lincoln's profile. Any distortions? Next, look for the mint mark just below the date. If it's a crisp D, Denver was its birthplace. But if something looks off, you might just be holding a double die, off-center strike, or planchet error. Then, protect it. Do not clean it. Collectors want coins in original condition. Put it in a protective sleeve or airtight case. Then, get it graded. The Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, are your go-to authorities. A certified grade is the difference between a $5 coin and a $500,000 payday. You'd be surprised how fast your local pawn shop will try to grab it for pennies on the dollar. Don't fall for it. Now here's a little twist that'll really keep you up tonight. Some experts believe there are still over 200 undiscovered 1952 D rare pennies floating in the wild, tucked into estates, hidden in desk drawers, buried in childhood coin jars. One could be just a few feet away from you, right now. What would you do if you found one? Retire early? Pay off the house? Finally take that trip to Italy? Or would you miss it entirely? A fortune lost to carelessness. Because here's the truth. Opportunity doesn't knock. It whispers. This is your whisper.so before you toss that jar of change aside again. Check. Look twice. It's not just spare change. It's a silent vault. And inside, the chance to change everything. And if you think this was fascinating, wait until you hear about the 1943 copper penny that sold for over $1.70 million, but that's a story for another video.